For too many years, Ferrari has watched others triumph in Formula One, like a fallen noble observing from afar the lights of a ball to which it is no longer invited, a fact that hurts more than one might think. The 2024 Formula One season saw the prancing horse return to contention for a title. The Constructors' Championship was fought until the final race in Abu Dhabi, though the trophy now adorns the display case in Woking. No matter, there's always next time. Dwelling on the subject serves no purpose anymore. Charles Leclerc suffered greatly from this defeat as the Monegasque driver believed in it like never before. Just recall his reaction on the final team radio after crossing the finish line of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix in third place. The result of a stunning comeback, which, as we know, was not enough due to Lando Norris's victory. The Monegasque pounded his fists on the steering wheel throughout the in-lap. His voice was choked with the despair of someone who refused to accept a bitter result. Enduring defeat is part of the game. True, but when the winner is someone you could have beaten, swallowing yet another bitter pill isn't so easy. In 2025, Charles Leclerc will face his 7th Formula One season. He has achieved numerous pole positions, 26 to be exact. The victories, however, are only 8, considering that he has always driven a car incapable of consistently fighting for wins throughout the championship. Marrying Ferrari's cause was never simple, and he knew this well when he signed the contract and its subsequent renewals. His desire to win alongside the Maranello team remains intact, and the goal for the upcoming season is clear: to finish ahead of everyone and become world champion with the prancing horse. Charles Leclerc will have Lewis Hamilton by his side, starting with the 2025 Formula One season. Much has been discussed about the hypothetical relationship between the two. Ferrari team principal Frédéric Vasseur believes he can manage the famous two roosters in the henhouse, just as he did with Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc. However, the situation is slightly different. No offense to Carlos Sainz, but the Briton is in a league of his own. We are talking about a 7-time Formula One world champion who has not come to relax but to win, or at least that's his goal. It will therefore be fascinating to see how this relationship is managed, especially if Project 677, expected to be named SF25, turns out to be a car capable of performing at its best and giving Ferrari's drivers the chance to fight for both Formula One world titles. Charles Leclerc is pure talent, just like Lewis Hamilton. And this is precisely the factor that could create problems. Both want to win and will do whatever it takes to stay ahead of the other at all times. In general, reflecting on Lewis Hamilton's stellar career, one fact stands out: his consistently fair behavior in contrast to other champions. Yes, because unsportsmanlike conduct or driving beyond the limits has never been part of his repertoire. This is a trait worth emphasizing. In this respect, Max Verstappen is entirely different. Think back to 2021 when, in his battle with Lewis Hamilton, he adopted an aggressive approach once he took the lead in the driver's standings with maneuvers aimed at contact. Charles Leclerc, too, has experienced this approach and has recently reflected on the subject, considering a hypothetical future where he might find himself contending for a championship. Racing by Max Verstappen's rules isn't exactly Charles Leclerc's style. However, he declares himself ready to adapt strategically, something akin to what Max Verstappen did with Lando Norris when the Briton was fighting for the Drivers' Championship. Charles Leclerc's mentality is ready for a change because, while fairness must prevail, there are times when aggressiveness and a success-driven approach can make the difference. The Monegasque driver is tough. He knows how to fight fiercely and can't wait to do so with anyone, provided Ferrari gives him the chance. Charles Leclerc's 2024 Formula One season was marked by both positive and negative moments, ending with a third place in the driver's standings. A third place that, all in all, does justice to the Monegasque's achievements, as he managed to win, finally, his home Grand Prix, as well as the races in Monza and Austin. Over the course of the year, the Scuderia inevitably paid a heavy price for the wrong aerodynamic upgrade package introduced in the Spanish Grand Prix at the Circuit de Catalunya. As a result, Charles Leclerc lost ground to Lando Norris and never truly entered the fight for the World Championship. His season still needs to be highlighted, considering his brilliant performances, but unfortunately for the Tifosi, also some negative moments during the European races, particularly in Silverstone and Austria. Charles Leclerc joined Scuderia Ferrari back in 2019, bringing with him great expectations and a determination that did not go unnoticed. Since then, the Monegasque driver has undergone significant growth alongside highly competitive teammates. In his first year with Ferrari, Charles Leclerc teamed up with Sebastian Vettel, an established driver with 4 Formula One world titles to his name. While having a champion like the German driver was a major asset for the Maranello team, it was Charles Leclerc who immediately stood out. Not only did he outperform his teammate in the standings, but he also finished the 2019 season in 4th place with 264 points, while Sebastian Vettel ended in 5th with 240 points. In 2020, the gap between the two drivers widened further. Charles Leclerc, despite a more challenging season, finished 8th in the overall standings with 98 points. On the other hand, Sebastian Vettel struggled, ending the season in 13th place with just 33 points. These figures highlighted the Monegasque driver's significant improvement, as he managed to shine despite the Maranello team's difficulties. Charles Leclerc later shared the garage with Carlos Sainz. Over the next 4 years, the rivalry was more balanced, but even then, Charles Leclerc achieved better overall results. The only time Carlos Sainz scored more points than Charles Leclerc was in 2021, when the Spaniard finished 5th in the World Championship, while the Monegasque driver placed 7th. Despite this, the relationship between the two drivers has always been characterized by a healthy spirit of competition, with both demonstrating great professionalism and respect for the Maranello team. Now, Charles Leclerc faces a new challenge with the arrival of Lewis Hamilton, one of the most successful drivers in Formula One history. As the new year begins, the focus shifts fully to the upcoming F1 season, leaving 2024 behind. January is that time of year when the first cars return to the track, when news about the team's car projects start circulating, and when predictions begin. For many, Charles Leclerc and Ferrari are the frontrunners for the 2025 season. Following the conclusion of the 2024 season and McLaren's blowout, the team from Maranello is putting everything into the new year, the last under the current regulations. Team principal Frédéric Vasseur has announced that the 2025 Formula One single-seater will be a completely new project. Instead of focusing on the 2026 regulations, Ferrari aims to maximize the potential of these cars, which have reached the limits of development. Ferrari will also benefit from a new addition, 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton. This makes 2025 one of the most exciting and fiercely contested F1 seasons in recent years. 4 teams, namely McLaren, Ferrari, Red Bull, and Mercedes, are vying for the 2 world titles. McLaren will look to build on and improve its performance from last season. Ferrari aims to return to its rightful place, Red Bull won't accept defeat, and Mercedes must recover after 3 disappointing years. However, not all teams will have a strong and experienced lineup. On this front, McLaren and Ferrari are the best positioned. Both Red Bull and Mercedes, barring surprises, will rely on only one experienced driver, Max Verstappen and George Russell. Liam Lawson and Kimi Antonelli, being rookies, will need their first year to adapt to the new teams and the fastest cars in the world.